Good afternoon, I'm Milton Walker with the Midday News. Special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. A reminder as well that you can download our One Spot Media app in the Google Play Store or the App Store. That's the number 1, followed by the words Spot and Media. We start this afternoon with a deadly mass shooting in the American city of Las Vegas. The death toll has risen to 58 and over 500 persons have been injured in what U.S. President Donald Trump labeled as an act of pure evil. President Trump addressed the American people this morning, saying Americans are joining together in sadness, shock, and grief.
My fellow Americans, we are joined together today in sadness, shock, and grief. Last night, a gunman opened fire on a large crowd at a country music concert in Las Vegas, Nevada. He brutally murdered more than 50 people and wounded hundreds more. It was an act of pure evil. The FBI and the Department of Homeland Security are working closely with local authorities to assist with the investigation, and they will provide updates as to the investigation and how it develops. I want to thank the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department and all of the first responders for their courageous efforts and for helping to save the lives of so many.
A gunman, 64-year-old Nevada resident Stephen Paddock, opened fire from the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay Hotel towards an open-air music festival attended by 22,000. He killed himself as police stormed the room where 10 guns were found. Investigators have found no link to international terrorism, despite a claim from so-called Islamic State. Meanwhile, the governor of Nevada was distraught.
Brian Sandoval. You know, I don't know if I have words to describe what we're going through and what these poor, unfortunate victims are going through. We're angry, we're grieving, we're confused, people are hurting. You know, I want to thank the sheriff and all the first responders. You know, I just had an opportunity to visit some of the patients in the hospital, and it's unimaginable what people are going through right now. You know, you got family members who are here and don't have anyone to reach out to. But the first responders and what they've done, it's their finest hour. Their finest hour. And the way that the sheriff and the Metropolitan Police Department have handled this event is unprecedented. The paramedics who came on the scene in basically what was a war zone and treated all those men, women, and kids. The healthcare professionals at the hospitals, the doctors who came from all over the valley.
Back home, the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce, the JCC, is again calling for stricter measures to deal with the nation's crime problem. Speaking at a recent JCC board meeting, First Vice President Catherine Kennedy said the government's plan for economic growth will not be realized until the root causes of crime are found. She also argued that the bureaucracy was affecting Jamaica's growth. Ms. Kennedy pointed out that after months of discussions were held and agreed to new positions in the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, it wasn't done.
The paperwork was not completed. And action of the highest national priority was, in a word, compromised by bureaucracy.
The JCC suggested that there is no mechanism to hold persons accountable.
If there is no accountability, there is little or no incentive for more efficient and effective performance. And if poor performers are treated in the same way as highly effective members of the public sector, then ultimately, all the plans for transformation of the public sector will remain moot.
The Chamber of Commerce is also adamant that the level of bureaucracy will be detrimental to Jamaican businesses if the government does not address the situation urgently.
We have repeatedly expressed our view that reflexive or institutionalized bureaucracy in fact, creates an environment in which corruption can take root and flourish.
In an ongoing effort to make every worker in Jamaica retire with a pension, the government has been seeking to reform the nation's pension system. But what will the pension reform entail? The details were outlined at the annual pension seminar held recently at the Spanish Court Hotel. Here's TVJ's Giovanni Dennis with the details.
Chief Technical Officer in the Labour Ministry, Audrey Dare, who was representing the Labour Minister, says provisions must be put in place to accommodate the average retiree, who by all accounts is expected to live for approximately 20 years after retirement. She argues that the current pension arrangement is a defined benefit scheme for public workers who are not part of the Independent Fund Agreement.
The reform focuses on two primary areas: increasing the age of retirement to 65 for government workers and introducing a contributory arrangement under the defined benefit scheme.
The Senate last Friday passed two critical bills paving the way for the reform of the pension arrangements for employees in the public sector. They are the Pensions Public Service Act of 2017, which had 62 amendments, and the Constitution Amendment Act of 2017. The new pensions, which are part of the pension reform, will see pensionable officers contributing 5% of their salary towards a pension.
The proposal under discussion will embrace the two in an effort to improve the sustainability of the pension scheme. Therefore, there will be contributory pension arrangements to which all public sector workers contribute. The Widows and Orphan Fund scheme, which requires that the average civil servant contribute 4% of income, will be repealed and now form a part of the pension contribution.
When the reform is completed, common law relationships and dependent children of common law unions will now be recognized as beneficiaries.
Only additional requirement in terms of contribution from civil servants will be a further 1% contribution. The 4% now being deducted through the Widows and Orphan Fund will be converted and used as a part of the workers' pension contribution.
Giovanni Dennis, TVJ News.
There's a last-minute call for the Ministry of Health to halt the start of a program to administer the human papillomavirus, HPV, vaccine to girls in grade 7. The vaccine will be offered free of cost. The details from TVJ's O'Shane Masters.
Parliamentary opposition wants plans put on hold until parents are adequately informed about the $100 million school-based program, which the government says is a proactive measure to protect girls against cervical cancer. Spokesman on health, Dr. Dayton Campbell, who last Friday called for a public education program on the HPV vaccine, is now raising concern whether it should be administered in schools.
The fact of the matter is that there is some amount of fear and trepidation in the society as persons are not quite sure of the side effects. You've seen literature where it is linked to some fainting spells among other side effects, and therefore I am not even sure if the school environment is the most suitable place for one to administer it, seeing that persons need to remain supine for about 15 minutes after the administration. We need to know what protocol is there in place to follow these persons after receiving the vaccination, to monitor them to ensure that they are not suffering from any adverse side effects. The vaccine is also relatively new, and therefore the long-term profile of it is not quite sure. So persons have to be informed so they can make an informed decision.
Dr. Campbell cautioned that the vaccination program could encounter problems if there is no public education program.
And so just to alleviate all of those fears within the society, I think that it is best if there is a robust public health program conducted prior to the implementation so persons can make informed decisions. Because at this rate, we may not have the necessary uptake that we want because persons are just not aware. And as I said, there's this level of fear within the society concerning the vaccination.
But Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says the vaccine is not mandatory. He has also given the assurance that the program is not a trial and error process. Speaking at a HPV Media Sensitization Forum at the University of the West Indies Mona campus on Friday, the health minister said that 22,500 girls will be targeted under the initiative. 2 doses of the vaccines will be given 6 months apart for full protection. Dr. Tufton told the forum that more than 200 million doses of the vaccine have been applied to patients worldwide, adding that more than 70 countries, including more than 20 in Latin America and the Caribbean, have already introduced the HPV vaccine. The health minister said the initiative is a proactive move by the government, pointing out that 392 women are diagnosed with cervical cancer in Jamaica each year, while 185 women die from the disease annually, primarily between the ages of 40 and 64. It states that HPV vaccination for girls ages 9 to 14 is the most cost-effective public health measure against cervical cancer. O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
Executive Director of the Heart Foundation, Deborah Chen, is encouraging persons to exercise in order to maintain good heart health. She noted that one of the major epidemics is obesity. Speaking on TVJ's Smile Jamaica this morning, Dr. Chen pointed out that about 5 to 6% of the population is between overweight and obese. Dr. Chen said there are many inexpensive ways to exercise without joining a gym.
Can work as well. Maybe on the way home, if you live in a safe enough area, you could get off the bus stop a couple stops before. Those sort of things. Right.
Dr. Chen says once individuals increase their exercise times during the week, their heart rate will also increase. This, she said, will increase the palpitation of the heart, and the lungs will in turn open a bit more. She said persons must also be aware of what they consume, as it can be a major contributor to them being obese.
The problem is that we're eating a lot of the wrong foods, foods that are high in calories and low in any beneficial and nutritious elements.
In sports, Jamaica's under-17 Reggae Girls went down to their second loss of the two-match series against their Costa Rican counterparts after a 3-1 defeat at Winchester Park, St. George's College on Sunday.
Girls were once again defeated by Costa Rica in Sunday's second game following their 3-0 defeat on Friday. Jamaica were outplayed in the first half but managed to secure a goal in the dying moments of the game. However, this was too late after the Costa Ricans had sealed the 3 goals in the first 45 minutes. The Costa Ricans took the lead in the 26th minute with a strike from Andrea Capmany. Then Pamela Gutierrez extended the lead in the 36th minute and returned for her second goal 5 minutes later to give Costa Rica a 3-0 lead at half-time. But the Caribbean champions went down fighting and Davia Richards closed the deficit, scoring in the 87th minute.
A little bit disappointed with the result.
And that's the midday news. I'm Milton Walker. Join us at 7 for primetime news on behalf of the news, sports and production teams. Good afternoon.